Last week, I failed the last rep on my top set for the weighted chin-ups with an extra 26 kilos, so tonight was revenge time. I kept the setup exactly the same just because I wanted to see whether it was a stretch reflex issue, and I think it was. I don't know how much strength and proficiency I might have accrued in a week to justify the fact that I was able to get this fifth rep on the coming up set. This is the top one with an extra 26 kilos. And I did this 2 weeks ago, but the setup was slightly different. I was doing that on the cable machine, and that bar there has a slight arch that I think is a bit more beneficial. Maybe it helps with supination of the wrist. But anyways, this is the top set here. In the fourth rep, I felt like I was going a bit faster than the last time, and I did not make the same mistake of resting at the bottom, as I am pretty sure that that little indecision was the one that cost me the last rep. But I was able to get it this time, so I'm happy about that. But despite this, I am not sure yet about the way that I want to keep progressing these. The thought that I had last week and that I implemented in this session also was to keep the top set as the second to last, so that I would be a bit fresher for the higher intensity exercise, and then I would give also myself an extra chance with the back of set with a slightly lower weight, which, by the way, in this instance felt almost as hard as not, if not harder than the previous set. So I don't really know if I want to be doing this or just going for straight sets in the same way that I'm treating all my other compound movements. So going for a rep range and slowly filling that range up and potentially adding a third set and then increase weights. I'm still debating that because I feel like at the end of the day, is there really a difference other than instead of sitting or standing, I am hanging from a bar? I probably should be treating most of my compounds in the same way, or at least this is a counter argument that my brain is feeding me so that I keep thinking about this stuff. But it's good fun. What was way less fun was that set on seated dumbbell overhead presses. I stayed with 16 kilos because that's the way that I used last week, since I was out of the 14 kilo dumbbells, and there was no reason for me really to back down in weight. Back then I was able to do 2 sets of 8 reps, and so was this time. I got 8 reps on the first set, and this is the second set here. And I wasn't sure if I actually would be able to, because I was getting towards the 6th. I felt pretty fatigued, and the 8 wasn't really the best looking one. But I ended up getting it in one way or another. So long as I'm not really cheating too much with my low back, I still feel like these reps are okay. Trying to get a good eccentric at the end at least. And since I have been jumping in weight a bit sooner than I would have liked with 16 kilo dumbbells, I'll probably give myself another week or so to acclimate with the newer weight before trying to go up towards 10 repetitions on the first set. Maybe I'll be able to do 9, let's see. But anyways, yeah, I thought that at least those were good work, and wrist curl set me up very well for the handstand stuff, because somehow my shoulders were a bit more supple than the previous time, where all the volume work with both the chin-ups and the overhead presses kind of made them stiff. This time I was able to get into a nice line for the handstand, and I could also get a good tuck at least. Now this is a bit of a variation with my usual sled work, but I can explain. I usually do backwards drags as part of the usual warm-up and the ramp up towards the working sets with the pushes. But over the last few days, maybe week, maybe couple of weeks, I have been feeling a bit of discomfort in the sole of my right foot, especially. Kind of an inflammation of the fascia. Now, I have been researching the topic a little bit, and recent research seems to have shown that it has less to do with inflammation and a bit more to do, or at least on average, with lack of blood supply in the area. And because I do feel a bit of discomfort when I go into forced extension of my toes, I decided to give it a bit of a rest and not really load that position too much. while still getting some explosive sled work. It's not ideal, but I want to stay as injury-free as possible, so if I can clear this out in the shortest time possible, I'm going to be considering that as a success. Maybe, hopefully, just a little setback that is going to prove inconsequential. Fingers crossed. And this is the end of the session, assisted Nordic curls. I was getting a bit too much hip flexion in the first set, so I tried to address that in the second one, and I was feeling it much more into the hamstring. So overall, I was able to fix that, and I'm happy with the way that it went. Ciao!